Okay. Here we go. Today we're finishing up 2.4 and moving on to 2.5, which is all about measures of positions and variances. We're going to start with the empirical rule, which is all about a normal distribution. The word normal means a bell curve. They love to use the word normal distribution in AP Stats. You'll see it all the time. So anytime you see normal, I need you to think of a bell curve. The empirical rule just tells you the percentages associated with like 1 standard deviation away from the mean, 2 standard deviations away, 3 standard deviations, etc. Plus or minus. So here, if I zoom in on this bell curve here, this is the empirical rule. We made a big chart of this. Do you remember that in class? So the mean is right here in the middle. This is the mean. And this is the mean plus 1 standard deviation. And this is the mean plus 2 standard deviations. This is the mean plus 3 standard deviations. Over here is the mean minus 1, minus 2, and minus 3. So with a bell curve, we can actually figure out, and if you're thinking, yeah, but different bell curves probably look different ways. Actually, if it's a normal bell curve, it almost always works out this way. And the way they figured out the areas underneath these curves are through calculus. So 1 standard deviation has 34% on either side for a total of 68%, which is where this number comes in right here. It says 68% is within 1 standard deviation, above and below, that is. 2 standard deviations are 95% because you take that 68% and you add that 13.5 and 13.5, you get to 95%. So like, can somebody tell me an example of a real life situation that would have a normal distribution in it? Yeah?
Like your speed when you're running.
Your speed when you're running?
Yeah, like you said.
Absolutely. Yeah, slow at first, then speeding up, and then slowing down again. That's very true. How about if I look at a whole population of people? Can anybody think of some measurement about them that would be normal?
IQ scores.
IQ scores, exactly right. You have most people in the middle. Most people are average. That's what average means. Always kills me when parents are like, my kid can't be average or my kid can't be below average. And it's like, look, even if I had a whole class of extremely smart people, there would still be somebody who's average, right? Because you have to like, imagine if the lowest grade in the class was a 98%, then that person would be the lowest of the group, right? It's still average of who you have. So average IQs, and then you got some brilliant people, and then you got some people who are not so brilliant. And either way, we're pulling on either side of the standard deviation. Most of us are in the middle for almost everything. A few of us are exceptional up here or exceptional down here. Most people are within 2 standard deviations of a mean. In a survey, the sample mean height of women in the United States aged 20 to 29 was 64.2 inches. I'm going to draw a little bell curve next to this problem. This is one of many, many bell curves you will draw with me. Might as well realize now how much you suck at it. Anybody draw a really good one? How'd you do, Justin? Is it a good one? No? Okay, Georgia hated herself a little bit when she drew hers, and Natalie erased hers and tried again. And Noah, I assume, did a bad job because he immediately cracked up as soon as I said, "Notice how bad you are." And then Justin just stared at me, and then I asked Justin about it, and then I realized that Justin's wasn't necessarily good. He just doesn't care if it's bad. Right? Yeah. Now, how about you, Nathan? You practicing right now? Yeah. Okay, so everybody draw a line in the middle of your bell curve. That's the mean. So for us, that is 64.2 inches for ladies. And then it says the sample standard deviation is 2.9. So I'm going to make 3 marks here. You're going to definitely want your calculator today if you don't have it yet. So if you add the standard deviation is 2.9. If you add 2.9 to it, you get 67.1 inches are the women who are 1 standard deviation above the mean. Add another 2.9, and you're up to 70 inches. And then 72.9. And since, 5 times 12 is 60, that means that if you are a little over 6 feet tall, you are an outlier. You are very, very, very tall for women, in the United States at least. And then on the other side, we're going to subtract 2.9 every time. So what is that? 48, 4 foot, 7.5. If you're shorter than 4 foot 7.5, then you're extremely unusual as well. But most people fall in the middle. Even us shorties. I'm a shorty and I am right here. Yeah, I'm below average compared to women's heights in America, but not a crazy outlier. Not that being a crazy outlier is a problem. Okay, now it says, estimate the percent of women whose heights are between 58.4 and 64.2. So that's what, this region? And then if you look at the diagram over here, the empirical rule shows that this is 34% right there, and this one is 13.5%. So together they are 47.5%. These are what you're